Hi, I'm Janelle.
Hello, I'm Ross.
And I'm Linda.
You may have heard the Metronet team is preparing to rebuild the Bayswater train station. We've seen the plans, and sure, the design looks promising, but we do have some concerns with the design that we would like to share with you. We have issues on 3 points. Firstly, the quality of the public space. Secondly, the connection between the shops on Watley Street and the street. And thirdly, the prioritisation of traffic over pedestrian spaces.
So I think probably the first step is to run you through a very brief overview of the Metronet plans for the precinct. We've got some plans here which have been prepared and highlighted by some of our members, which showing basically the two train lines running across the centre of the station, and then the proposed road layout, which is Metronet's current scheme, showing basically the roads being diverted, which came from King William up to Hamilton. That's now potentially being cut off and creating a road around the precinct. And what this means, our concerns are, is basically the public open space and the public realm become very small, and basically creating just a small plaza on the northern side of the railway line. Doesn't seem particularly enticing to people to come and visit a small strip.
Thank you, Janelle. And of course, this space is disconnected from not just the town centre on the southern side of the train station, but also this new development site on the northern side. The other thing to note is this blue dashed area shown on the plan here is the public plaza, which is entirely under the shade of the station structure itself, which, as you can imagine, is not the greatest design for a public plaza as you exit a train station. It is certainly not a space that the public could enjoy and use in the way that Metronet thinks it will be.
Look, I think the other thing is that it's entirely surrounded by cars and buses. The whole idea is that, as far as we know, that this design does prioritise bus layoffs, and that's been prioritised over the public space that could be available.
So I guess if you can just imagine how you come into Bayswater, at the moment people go to visit Burt Wright Park. There's really nowhere in this Metronet design where people would want to come and visit and come into the town centre and meet friends.
No, as soon as you come off the train, you come down to the ground level, and you are surrounded by cars.
Mm-hmm.
And if that space would ever be activated, that would be highly questionable.
Mm.
So the next issue that we have is on Watley Crescent. There are a range of existing successful shops that front onto what is a calmed, low traffic street with parking on both sides, and the Metronet plan proposes an extension of the Watley Crescent to link with Beechborough Road South under the train line. What this does in practice is it lowers Watley Crescent, and at the corner here the road itself will be approximately 4 metres lower than the shops. That's equivalent to about a 1.5 storey building. What that does is it removes any connection between the shops and Watley Crescent. The shops themselves will be facing essentially a footpath and retaining walls dropping down to a high traffic street below it. There'll be limited access for car parking. What that means is that these shops will have limited prospect of being able to stay open as economically viable shops, or even as redevelopment opportunities. It's a poor outcome in our view, and it's not one that we think is the best outcome for Bayswater, the residents, or the visitors.
also that disconnection, Metronet are saying that they've got the same number of parking bays as exists now, coming right through under the bridge or the rail line, but they're so disconnected from the shopping centre that I don't think it's a reality that anybody would park there.
No.
And go
off.
back to the shops.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. I noticed just tonight there were probably 11 cars parked on that stretch of road, visiting the shops and the local businesses in Bayswater. Just questionable how many of those 11 would have driven straight through in this current Metronet design.
Yeah. And if you can't find a bay, you would just keep going.
Driving.
So we've missed every potential economic input into this town centre just by the road design alone.
And I think that's an excellent segue into our third issue, which is the prioritisation of traffic over pedestrians in this Metronet design. What this design does is it funnels the Beachborough Road South traffic into Watley Crescent and creates a disconnect between the pedestrian connectivity to both the town centre to the south and also the areas to the north.
Because we always used to say that the train line was separating the two sides of Bayswater, this side and that side of the train line. Well, effectively now you've got a large road to transverse, then the train station plaza, and then across to the other side of Bayswater. So it's a longer, convoluted and potentially more dangerous connection for pedestrians too.
As you said, we've always said that there's a barrier. The rail line's been a barrier, but now it's an increased barrier between the two sides. I don't think there's any connection at all other than with the cars.
And pedestrians are the ones that come worse off in this proposal. In order to get to Hamilton Street, which, as you'll be aware, the local police station is located at the corner of Watley and Hamilton, in the bottom right corner of this plan. To get from the train station to that area, there's an excessively long and windy ramp that people must be able to negotiate to get to that point. It's certainly not an ideal outcome, and it's one which can only arise if we prioritise the traffic movements through the centre over the pedestrian movements for the local people using the businesses in the area.
Look, the other thing, continuing on from some of those bits of earlier information, this street here is actually our high street. Although King William Street might have a better, greater presence because it has two sides of a street. We have an IGA and a post office, a newsagent and a chemist all on that street for a reason, and it's because the people use that, and it's been a good street to be able to use, and that's just been taken away from that area with this design. Going back to what Ross was saying, is because the road layout from Watley Crescent to Beachborough Road, it cuts through and under the bridge, Hamilton Street is now cut off. Which means everybody that lives in the Hamilton Street precinct will have to use Olfie Street to get to King William Street, and we can show that on this map. So this is the cut-off at Hamilton Street. So anybody that lives in this precinct or wants to go to the shops, because Metronet is saying that the car parking for the shops will be up here, but I can only count 7 bays. Everybody will have to go up through here. And if you miss your car park, you'll be going around in circles there and to get out there. So all these people living in this precinct have only got that entrance and exit there. The entrance and exit to Guildford Road at the bottom of Slade Street is just far too dangerous to turn right with, and the Watley Crescent, if you're not going towards Vassendine, the Watley Crescent exit to Guildford Road's too far away.
So it's actually bringing potentially more traffic back into this section of the town centre.
Yes.
Which we're obviously trying to calm and make it more friendly for pedestrians to cross the road too.
And what it does is put increased pressure on the intersections at Olfie and King William and at Slade Street and Guildford Road for the residentials area who are trying to get in and out to use. They're the only real routes in and out of the area once Watley Crescent is cut off.
Look, I can tell you from experience, having lived on Olfie Street, is that 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 right-hand turn on that intersection there at Alfie Street and King William Street is very, very dangerous. So unless there is something done to that, and who knows what that could be, hopefully not another set of lights, you know, I think it's potentially dangerous.
So yes, it's really a traffic dominated solution
Absolutely.
from Metronet, and not considering the local Bayswater residents or businesses.
Or businesses. Yeah.
So while the design of the station structure that we've seen so far is promising and looks quite architecturally interesting, there's certainly some issues that this particular plan by Metronet suffers from. However, we aren't here simply to complain. We do have some solutions in mind. So we'd like to present Future Bayswater's alternative option 3A, where we have addressed all three of the issues that we've identified before.
Rightio, so here's the Future Bayswater option 3A. So we didn't just sit back and say, as Ross said, that Metronet is wrong. We came up with another set of plans, and given the architects, planners and engineers on our board, we got to work, and here it is. So probably the main thing in our design is that Watley Crescent joins up to Railway Parade, Beachborough Road, much earlier and under the railway station. So we're putting the traffic under the railway station, not the people. To achieve that, you've got to lower Watley Crescent, which is at the bottom left-hand side of the drawing. You've got to lower that earlier, and you've got to come down. You've got to lower that right down so you can get under the bridge. One of the other features of it is that then having this sort of layout is that we can keep Watley Crescent East open, and we can make it into a shared street with pedestrians and cars, which enables the economic viability of these shops to continue. It allows that land to be developed incrementally, and we just think that's a better idea. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, no, definitely. I guess in terms of the shared street, people will probably be aware of a similar scenario in Bayview Terrace in Claremont.
Yep. And
Elizabeth Quay as well, where you drive through at slow speed, but pedestrians are definitely welcome in that area.
One in just off Fitzgerald Street now, not Mary Street.
So it's certainly become a common planning technique and solution for keeping cars and people in the same area. Yeah.
So that takes the pressure off Alfie Street, and you know, maybe even the markets can extend to this
Sounds great. Yeah.
place, and we can do festivals and all sorts of things there.
Probably an easier street to shut down than King William Street.
Absolutely.
To have festivals in. Yeah. So, and the public open space is opened up as well. So it's along the shop fronts.
Yes.
Where people tend to walk and enjoy spending time.
Yep.
That's right, and the providing for public spaces isn't just a case of showing one on a plan and making it happen. It works when there is connection to shops and other activities and things which ensure that the spaces are not just better used, but they also work in conjunction with the shops and businesses. There's a trade-off between the people using the space and the businesses that rely on the people to survive. So there's a great outcome there. One of the other benefits of this design is that it creates another public plaza space on the northern side of the station, just between Coode Street and where we're drawing the realigned railway parade. That then creates a development site on the northern side of the station that has an aspect directly onto this public plaza. And as you can imagine, having an aspect onto a plaza rather than a bus road provides for a higher amenity aspect for that development site, making it more attractive for people to use and for the Department of Communities to find a successful builder on that site.
Sunshine as well, so you get the north sun coming into the these areas, whereas before there would be very little sun under the Metronet blue shaded plaza that we showed earlier.
You're right, and the station itself retains the same function as it does under the Metronet proposal.
Yep. The other thing is to make sure that it was on par with the Metronet solution, is we've made sure there's the same amount of bus bays, and in this solution the buses go around here, which is a solution that Metronet did show us when we had been discussing future options, so we think that that was on the cards anyway in the future. The other thing is we've put in as many car bays as we can here, because we know that the lacrosse club are looking for the car bays,
of course,
that they may use, and there's obviously a lot of negotiation to go on with the lacrosse club and the car bays, and you know, that's for the future. We can't solve everything, but we haven't forgotten you.
So this plan does a number of great things. It creates better public spaces. It creates a better interface between the existing shops on Watley Crescent and a retained and enhanced Watley Crescent East, which has been calmed so that it acts as a shared street and can be better used by the community. It also doesn't create a plan which is dominated by bus turning lanes and by cars and traffic, but retains a pedestrian environment that can be used by everyone.
Right, just one final point, or unless Janelle's got something else to say, is that we believe that the amount of earthworks that would have had to take place to get a second bridge and the connection for the Metronet option would be replaced by the amount of earthworks that you'd have to get Watley Crescent lowered to get that intersection under the railway line, so we don't think that in terms of cost it's any different.
And actually also probably benefits these shops here as well, rather than taking out a 2 or 3 lane road right in front of their precinct. They can actually be have some level area in front of them as well for pedestrians.
We've spoken to a few people on Veitch Street and Watley Crescent, and they'd be quite happy for Veitch Street to be cut off, and
cul-de-sac,
for them to be higher than the traffic also means that they don't get as much traffic noise.
So Future Bayswater supports the station redevelopment, which will provide an added impetus for the redevelopment and enhancement of our town centre and its surrounds. The station design is promising. The Future Bayswater option 3A works within the station design. We can take the good work that's been done by Metronet and its architects on the station, and with adjustments to the road design and the way in which the spaces and pedestrian networks work around the station, create an outcome which is not only better and potentially more cost effective, it's something which will be of a beneficial outcome for the people of Bayswater for years to come. Thanks for listening.